Welcome to Engage Math, Lesson 29, Problem 1. And we are solving quadratic equations, meaning equations with a variable to the second power as the highest degree term. So these are quadratic equations, and we're solving them by taking the square root of both sides. So one thing to remember, this is such an important concept and such a common error for students in algebra. But when you take So I'm going to kind of just say here, when you take, and I'm purposely being very dramatic about this, when you take the square root, I'm going to abbreviate that, the square root of both sides of an equation, I'm just going to kind of use this for an equation, remember plus minus. So the side without the variable in each one of these would get the plus minus. So it would be, for this first one, x equals plus or minus 5, meaning there are two answers. 5 is an answer that would work if you put it in for x and squared it, you'd get 25, and negative 5 would be an answer that would work if you put it in for x and squared it. Okay, let's do the next one. Before we solve b, we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. So we're going to get negative 1 under each of these. And when we do that, to divide by negative 1, we're going to get an x squared equals a positive 100. Take the square root of both sides, so x is equal to plus or minus 10. Okay, I'm going to now zoom in for C and D here so that you can see them really clearly. Okay, C, the issue here is that when we take the square root of both sides, we have x is equal to plus or minus the square root of negative 64. And 8 may be coming to mind, but you cannot take the square root of negative 64, at least not yet, because there is no number that we know in the set of real numbers that you can square and get a negative. So this would be no real solution. And as you move on in math, you have much better understanding of what real numbers are. But right now, there is no solution that we can possibly imagine for that problem. Okay, later on you'll know something called the imaginary number. So that was a little pun. Okay, D, C squared equals 62. So we're going to take the square root of both sides, and I'm going to write the C on the left. So C equals plus or minus, meaning it could be a positive square root of 162 or a negative. But remember, we want to simplify our answers. So we're going to say plus or minus, and the square root of 162 can be written as the square root of 81 and the square root of 2. So I'm starting to do this a little bit off the top, asking you to do it a little bit off the top of your head, but the square root of 162 then is 9 square root 2. So I'm going to just go right to that answer to have you really challenge yourself in trying to come up with the answers by knowing what you know about simplifying radicals. Okay, and that is everything for this problem with Engage Math. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.